Welcome to Birds of Prey Sports, where we cover Orioles and Ravens news weekly. I'm your host, Jared. And in this video, I'll be doing a prediction video for the NFL playoffs that are starting today. Today's January 10th, 2026, and the wild card is getting underway in about 2 hours in Charlotte, between the Rams and the Panthers. Obviously, the later game tonight will be Packers at Bears. We've seen this matchup before. This was a matchup, I think, not that long ago. I think it was when the Ravens played the Patriots. But with the Ravens out of the playoffs, I figured I'd give my predictions. TJ will have his predictions as well in another video. And he'll be ready for those. But this is just going to be my take on the playoffs so far. This should be an interesting playoff, in NFL playoff, just because there's just a lot of teams that, are leading the conferences that are kind of surprising in a way. Obviously with the Broncos and the Patriots being the 1 and 2 seeds, which wouldn't be surprising 10 years ago. And then I believe the Seahawks and the Bears, this is the top two seeds in top two, if I'm not mistaken, in the NFL. Are they the top two seeds? I have to look and see. What I'll see, but I know the Seahawks and Bears are the top two, which probably also wouldn't have been surprising 10 years ago. Maybe the Bears would have been surprising, but the Seahawks definitely not. So it feels like we're reverting back to 10 years ago. It's what it almost feels like, outside of maybe the Rams, Bills, and maybe even Jags being at the forefront of this. But anyways, I'm just gonna get right into it and not waste any more time. I'm gonna share my screen here. And get my predictions on. With the first game of the day, so the Bears are the 2 seed, by the way. The first game of the day is between the Los Angeles Rams and the Carolina Panthers. That'll be the 4:30 matchup, I believe, on Fox. I think the Rams are going to get, their get back today versus the Panthers. I know everyone is probably, I don't know how anybody is going to root for the Panthers. But I'm definitely going to be picking the Panthers. I mean, the Rams to win today. I think the Rams win. Trying to predict the score. I'll say 31-17. Just something. I don't want to say it's going to be a blowout, but I definitely think that the Rams will take care of business. The later matchup tonight will be the Bears and the Packers. And you know what? I want to pick the Packers, but I'm going to go Bears. I know it's not really going to be an upset, but I'm going to have the Bears winning tonight. I don't even know what the score would be. I'll say 23 to 21. Just 23-21. I'll go with that. Just for now. Um, I'll give my reason. I guess I should give reasonings. I just think that, with the Rams, I think that, they haven't been playing their best ball maybe of recently, but I think that they get the job done tonight, versus the Panthers. The Panthers obviously snuck into the playoffs with the Falcons beating the Saints after the Panthers could handle their own business last Saturday. Um, I just don't think the Panthers have enough. I mean, they've beaten the Rams already at Carolina, but I don't think that they're going to do it 2 times this season. And the Packers and Bears, and the Bears are an interesting team because they are pretty good, but like they're just kind of up and down, But the Packers, I think, are dealing with a lot of injuries. Obviously, Micah Parsons is out for the season with the ACL tear. And I would the Bears did play pretty poorly versus the Packers earlier this year or a few weeks ago. When Jordan Love was out in that game, but Jordan Love has missed a few weeks. I think that's going to affect this team. I think it's going to affect his play, and I think that the Bears ultimately do win this game, 23-21. But anyways, the first game on Sunday, will be the Jags and Bills. I know everyone is kind of on the Jags hype train right now, but I'm not gonna buy into it just yet. I'm gonna probably go Bills here. I think the Bills win. I think it is a closer matchup. I don't think like it's gonna be a blowout or anything, but I think the Bills are gonna win 27-24. Kind of a standard, classic, not classic matchup, but just kind of a standard score right there, 27-24. I think that the Jags do play it tight all game, but I just think that, with Bills and Josh Allen, I think they'll get the job done on Sunday. But I mean, I could definitely see the Jags winning as well. Obviously they've been humming, this year. I think they've won a whole bunch of games in a row. They're 13-4. I mean, this is a damn good season for them, and I ultimately think it ends on Sunday. 49ers at Eagles. This could easily be a snooze fest, I think the Eagles defense eats the 49ers alive. I think the Eagles are going to win this game. It's going to probably be a boring game. I would say they win something like 17 to like 6 or something like that. Um, I think the defense just swarms Brock Purdy and company. I could easily see the Eagles putting up plenty of points in this game, but I'll just keep it. The Eagles' offense has been pretty, stagnant this season. And I'm just gonna stick to it being, kind of a little lame, kind of a lame game. 17-6 is my final score. Chargers and Patriots will be the Sunday night football game tomorrow. You know what? I want to pick the Chargers, but I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna go to Pats here. I think the Patriots are gonna win. I think Drake May gets his first playoff win. Um, and I think it's gonna be. I think it's actually gonna be a pretty good game. Obviously Herbert has been banged up this season. His offensive line has played pretty poorly just because they've been banged up. But I think the Pats are gonna win. I'm gonna go Patriots. 35 like 35-24. I'll go 35-24. I think that, but I don't know. I can see the Chargers putting up a stinker just because of Greg Roman, being the offensive play caller. And Greg Roman offenses in the playoffs outside of maybe 2012 are pretty shitty, to put it lightly. And that's just that again. That's to put it lightly, in all seriousness. But I think the Patriots get it done. Texans and Steelers is the Monday night game. This would have been our game. Meaning the Ravens game would have been a Monday night football game. But they will get the Steelers in Pittsburgh. I think the Texans are going to win. I think the Texans are going to win, and I think that they win 23-7. And I know it's crazy to predict a blowout. It's in Pittsburgh. It's Monday Night Football, but I think that the Texans defense, they're for real, man. They are for real. Obviously last week they didn't play pretty good, but I think that I really do think that the Texans defense is going to eat uh Aaron Rodgers alive. Obviously Aaron Rodgers could be on his swan song here, 40, 41, 42-year-old quarterback. I forgot how old he is. But I think that Texans defense is just going to have a hell of a day as I try to get this ad out of my face. Um, I just think they're going to swarm Aaron Rodgers all game. Something similar to how they played versus the Browns. That's kind of my opinions on it, and I think that's just kind of my predictions there. But anyways, to move on to the divisional round now. Um, Obviously, we don't have no time. We don't have any time set in this game, but I'll just go by order here in the AFC. Texans, Patriots. Man, that would be a hell of a game. So it obviously would be in Foxborough. Texans versus Patriots. I'm gonna go. Man, this is a tough one. I'm gonna go. Oof, this is gonna be probably crazy. I'm gonna go Texans. I think the Texans win. Nothing spectacular. I think it's like 24 to 24 to 17. I think I've already predicted 24-17. No, I haven't yet. I think 24-17 is a reasonable score. Like I said, man, that Texans defense is just nasty, man. The Texans defense is just nasty. I'm gonna go Texans, and my next game, Bills and Broncos. Bills at Broncos. Sorry, I'm writing it down so I have it on record. My predictions. Unfortunately, I think the Bills are gonna win. I think Josh Allen's gonna get back to the AFC Championship game. It's not gonna be pretty, but I have the Bills winning 21 to like 10, 21-10. I think the divisional round could easily be more boring of a round than predicted, but that's my prediction. Um for the divisional round for the NFC, the Eagles, it would be Eagles at Bears. I would have the Eagles winning. They obviously played earlier in this year on Black Friday where the Bears did beat them in Philadelphia. But I'm gonna have the Eagles getting their get back in this game. What would I think the score would be? I think the Eagles would win like 27 to like 13 or something like that. They really put up a stinker early up this year. But I think this is really a tough playoffs to predict, but I'm gonna go Eagles. I'm kind of going a little private favorites here, but I think the Eagles can just get it done. The Bears defense obviously isn't as good, isn't that good, I should say. They put up some pretty good performances. They put up a pretty good performance in Philly, but I don't know. I just trust the Eagles more in the playoffs, in my opinion. But the Bears, look, they're gonna be a team to watch next season. But anyways, to move on to the last divisional round game of the weekend, the Rams at Seahawks. Man, this would also be a hell of a game. We saw this on Thursday Night Football a few weeks ago, and it was a hell of a game. I didn't get to watch that game, but I heard a lot of that game was crazy. But I think it's another one where it's like they're gonna get back. I think the Rams are gonna get the job done, and um, I think the Rams win like 38 to 35. I think this is the game of the playoffs. Something similar to and I know 38 is crazy to say on a Mike Mack defense, but Matthew Stafford has been doing pretty good against Mike Mack's defense, even when he was at Baltimore. So I'm definitely gonna say 28, 38, 35. I think this is the game of the playoffs so far. That's my prediction. Obviously we saw the Thursday night matchup in Seattle, where I forgot what the score was, but it was like everything's like 38-32 or something like that. It was something crazy, or 38-35, whatever it was. I mean, I predicted 30 or 35, but it was something crazy like that. But you know, I think that the Rams can definitely pull it off. I think the Rams are gonna pull off kind of something similar to like 2022 or 2021, I should say. Where they pull off an immaculate run on the road. They don't have, but this year they wouldn't have any home playoff games, so it would be even more impressive if they pull it off this year. But we'll save that. We'll save that for the predictions in the championship games. But the championship games now are the Bills and Texans and the Rams and Eagles. So the Bills would be traveling to Houston. I know this is probably crazy to predict the Bills and Texans in the AFC Championship game, considering they're both wild card teams, and this would be the Texans' first AFC Championship appearance. But hmm, I think I'm gonna say Bills. I'm gonna say Bills. Unfortunately, Bills will win this game and get to their first Super Bowl. And I think they win something like a sloppy game, like 23 to like 20 or something like that. Um, Just I know Josh Allen's played pretty poor versus the Texans over the last few seasons. I think he's lost two games. He lost one to Davis Mills earlier in this year on my birthday actually, and I think that the Bills will ultimately get to the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, and Josh Allen will be playing for his first Super Bowl in Santa Clara. This Bills defense obviously won't get a chance to play Mahomes. I think the Bills, that's the one thing that's been kind of in their way is the elite quarterbacks, Mahomes and Burrow. Unfortunately, Lamar hasn't been in his way as we've lost to them the two times that we've played them, but that's besides the point. But I think the Bills will be getting themselves to their first Super Bowl since it's probably since when they lost four in a row in the '80s, or I think that was the '80s. It could be the '70s. I'm not sure, but that's my prediction. I think the Bills will pull it off in Houston, a place where has Josh Allen won there. Now that I think about it, I might have to change their prediction now because they played them in 2019, they lost. They played them in 2023. Or did they play them in 2020? No, they played in 2024 and lost. They played them last year, this year and lost. I don't know. We'll see. I think the Bills will pull it off. Yeah, that's my opinion. But anyways, so the Rams traveling now to Philadelphia again for this year, and I think that the Rams pull it off this time. They should have pulled it off last time, earlier in this year, and they blew it. But I think the Rams are starving to beat them, man. I mean, they obviously lost to them in the divisional round last year. They lost them earlier this year, and they probably shouldn't have. They had that blocked field goal. But I think the Rams win, and I think they clobber them in the NFC Championship game. I'm gonna say 41-17. I think that the Rams would clobber in the NFC Championship game just because they want to get back. When they want a Super Bowl appearance, they just want to probably beat the Eagles, and that's gonna be my prediction. So this is probably a popular Super Bowl prediction. Um, the Rams and Bills. It would be surprising just because it'd be two wild card teams. I don't know if that has ever happened. So Rams versus Bills. Um, I don't know if this has ever happened before. Um, where two wild card teams have made the playoffs. I mean, made the playoffs. Yeah, because two wild card teams making the playoffs. Two wild card teams making the Super Bowl. But I think this could be a possibility. I mean, the NFL is kind of unpredictable this year, and I'm gonna lean towards the unpredictability of it all. So, um, but now my Super Bowl prediction. This is a tough one because these two teams. I don't think they matched up this year. They matched up last year. I think the Rams won. It was like a crazy game. It's like 40 something to 40 something. Josh Allen had like 6 touchdowns. He had like 4 passing touchdowns and 2 rushing touchdowns or something like that. Um, so this could easily be a Super Bowl that could be legendary in my opinion. But I'm gonna go. hmm, I'm gonna go Rams. I think Matthew Stafford gets number two. And I think it could be a great Super Bowl, like how we had back in 2021. And I'm gonna go the Rams 29-26. I could easily see it being like some game-winning field goal scenario or something. What if what if it was like the Bills missed the game time field goal or something like that, and they can't just live past, missing wide right. But yeah, I think Matthew Stafford gets number two. I don't know. There's something about the Rams that I really, really like this postseason. Obviously they haven't played probably their best football down the stretch, but I really do think the Rams are going to win the Super Bowl. I don't know. There's just something about them that I trust more than the Eagles. I trust more than the Seahawks. I trust more than the Bears, and I trust more definitely than the Panthers. I just think that they're just going to go on a run. Matthew Stafford's probably. I think he's going to play unbelievable football this postseason. Now if they lose today. My whole prediction is out of the window. But that's my prediction. My predictions for the wild card round are going to be this week's predictions for the wild card games. Me and TJ will be back on here doing our predictions probably for the divisional round as well and championship round. And hopefully we can make a video together talking about our predictions for his predictions for the playoffs. But these are my predictions for the NFL playoffs. I have the Rams beating the Bills in the Super Bowl. I'm going to stop my share here. Um, these playoffs are going to be very difficult to predict, even when the teams that you kind of expect to make it do make it. But with the Ravens missing it, the Chiefs missing it, the Lions missed it this year. There's a lot of unpredictability, and I think that that's just going to bleed into the playoffs, I should say, and lead to probably a great Super Bowl match. 29-26. I think that could be a great game. So that's like I said, that's my predictions for this year's NFL playoffs as they're going to get started in about 2 hours. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. I'll maybe make a video about these new rumors about Harbaugh's firing, or this new report that came out about Harbaugh's firing. So be on the lookout for that. Don't forget to check out our second channel, Casual Cinema. All of our links for our social medias on our second channel will be linked down in the description below. And Birds Play Sports, and we're out.